I started making those little angels that I do, and I made 100 of them to give away to people at the hospital and stuff like that. And so we had 33 people standing in my hospital room as my neurosurgeon came in to take me out, and I had been giving everybody angels, angels, angels. So I have given away 2,700 of them now. I had also tatted a brain for him, one of Martha S.'s brains, her old pattern as a brain. And I asked him, I said, I want you to tell me what this is. And he turned it around and he said, well, and he says, a brain? I said, yes, I just wanted to make sure you knew what you were going to look at when you opened my head up. So I made 85 more angels, and the nurse was still standing at the door as I was leaving, waiting for her angel to be finished. So,
when I was a little girl, about 9 years old, my grandmother had given me a copy of the Coates and Clark Learn How book, and I learned how to do everything in it except for the very last section, which was tatting. My dear father searched high and low for a tatting shuttle. Couldn't find one. Evidently asked some guys he worked with at the post office if they knew where he could get one. And a guy said, you can go to this store in Marable and they have them. So my father drove 45 minutes to a store in Marable and got a tatting shuttle for a 9-year-old kid that had no clue how to tat. And I've been using it ever since and still have it, and God bless him for doing that, and I wish he could see all of this going on.
Hi, my name's Anita Berry. I have been shuttle tatting for 23 years. I live in Virginia. It's the most economical and mobile craft skill that I have known. The funniest story on tatting. Oh, when I learned, the little lady that taught me to tat. I sat right next to her, elbow to elbow, and she did this. And I looked at her. And I said, show me again. And she said, oh, okay. And I'm going, oh my gosh. Well, from then on, I somehow followed every motion she made and learned to tat. And it was the most wonderful gift that she gave me, was the ability to enjoy this art.
When you take a class and you don't finish, it kind of upsets you because you're trying to get the technique. So if we're teaching techniques, we want you to keep trying that technique. I have lots of teachers, like my favorite teacher to teach split rings, Karen Bavar. I call her a split ring queen. Self-closing mock rings, it was Randy House. I've learned a lot from Anita Berry in all sorts of spectrums. Anitra Stone, she likes wildlife, so she does a lot of wildlife. Martha S., I learned block tatting from Martha a couple years ago. So, and I like her patterns, and then how to use buttons, Janie Verall. We've switched the schedule around enough to where people can finish the classes. They can finish the project in there. And if they're not finished, they're at least close enough. I learned in 2000 on a dare. We went to a leisure arts program, and my aunt and my cousin had already chosen their classes, and you couldn't take the same classes. And then my sisters were informed that they needed to take certain classes. Well, the only thing left was tatting. So Linda Davies taught me how to tat. I took it from her. 2 months later, I was getting really frustrated because I didn't understand why my bobbin wouldn't move. I had an arrow shuttle. I was squeezing it so tight. So when I learned clover shuttles, I'm like, oh, let me try this shuttle. I figured it out because it doesn't squeeze. There's a post in the middle. Now I tat with arrows.
All right, well, my name is Martha S., and I want to talk about a story my mother used to tell me about her granny and tatting. And so her story was when she was a little bitty girl, about 4 years old, her granny had this beautiful tatting shuttle. So she told her if she could learn how to tat, she could have that shuttle. But she was only 4 years old, and she couldn't get it. And it was a sunny day outside, and she had things to do, and so she couldn't get it. She didn't learn how to tat, and she didn't get the pretty shuttle. Somewhere out there is a shuttle that should have been mine. So in my uncle's house, that was the old family farmhouse, they found that in the drawer of what had been the sewing table. So I was the only one who tatted, so my aunt gave me the shuttle. Yay.
Wow.
I like the I like the arrows and the air lights, or airlets, however you say it, because I like bobbin shuttles and I like having a hook on the end. The only thing with the bobbin shuttles is, to me, these are hard. Size 10 thread is hard on these, for me, for some reason. So if I'm doing size 10 thread, then I pull out the moonlights, so I still have the hook on the end.
I'm Melinda Crenshaw. I've been tatting since 2009. Was taught by the Palmetto Tatters Guild and have been enjoying it ever since. But it was something I wanted to do for a long time. When I was growing up, I did a lot of crafts, needlepoint, cross-stitching, and things like that with my mom, and she taught me those kind of things. And I think that's where I learned about tatting, but I never had seen my mom tat or anything. It was something we had just talked about. And so she passed away when I was fairly young, and I'd spent years trying to learn how to tat and couldn't figure it out. I tried videos, things like that, and I was always getting it backward. And I finally learned how to tat, and I went to show my older sister. And she pulled out of her stash of things that she had been given by my mom a tatted necklace that was done in white with gold beads. And her story and what she told me when she did it was that Mom had tried to do the tatting and she had succeeded in that. And typically my mom likes to do one for all of her girls. She had 3 daughters and a son. But that, she said that was going to be her first and her last tatting because it was way too hard. I've been here every year since I started learning to tat. I just love the fellowship, and I love being able to talk to different people and their experiences and learn from people who've just been doing it for so long. And there's so many impressive teachers and different styles of teachers and different personalities that I enjoy. But as I've learned to sort of take some of my mistakes and make them into other things, and that's been fun to do. I learned at first to tat with a clover in my fingers because when I initially was trying to learn by myself, I just had the clover shuttles. But then when I went to the Palmetto Tatters Guild, they had the little kits, and they have the 2 strings. You have 2 different colors, contrasting colors, to learn to do the chain, and so they just give you the 1 clover shuttle. So that was the first time I was real successful at it.